Hey everyone, welcome back to Red Bandit Racing. Today we got the Traxxas SLEDGE and we're going to be doing some hop-ups. We're also going to be doing a repair and we'll get into that in a little bit, but first I want to show you guys what we got. So as you know, the Traxxas SLEDGE, you can get all different color bodies, but the shocks, the chassis and everything come in blue. So what we're going to do today is we're going to change it up a little bit. I wanted to go with a darker color and then highlight the green. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually using the gray shock towers. And for the front, it's going to be part number 9539A. And for the rear, it's going to be 9538A. We also got some suspension arm covers. We're going to be doing these in green. These are the fronts. It's going to be part number 9633G. And we got the rears. That's going to be 9634G. So we're going to do those in green. I think that's going to look really cool with the black arms. We also got some new shock tubes, 9665G. Those are going to look really cool. And we got the fronts. It's going to be 8965G. We also going to put on a new chassis brace. That's going to be 9523G. Got that in green, so that's going to look pretty cool. We also got the new wing washer. It's going to be 9617G. And I think that's really going to pop going on black. And that's kind of why I'm doing this, because I think there's a lot of dark colors, so I want to do it with the green. I thought a green chassis would be too much. I'm also going to replace the pinion, and we'll get into that and why. But it is going to be a 6483X, and that is a 13 tooth, and it is steel. Now, for the chassis, I actually got the chassis skid plate, and I got that in green. That's going to be 9623G. I thought that would look really cool on a gray chassis. So let's get into the chassis. So I ordered this chassis. It's going to be gray 9522A. I got this from Amain Hobbies. I like going to Amain Hobbies because their shipping is much faster. When I got this in, it was damaged. So, do you guys see that? I actually got a hold of Amain, and I was on hold for maybe 5 minutes because they were checking on what to do. I offered to send a picture of this in, so at least they had it. They came back to me a couple more minutes, and I told them, you know what, if you guys are busy, that's fine. What if I email you guys a picture? And then you guys can get back to me on how you want me to mail this in, if you guys can replace it. And the guy said, don't worry, we'll just take care of you and everything will be good. So they sent me another one. So now I have a spare, same part number, but that one's gonna be, like I said, that one's gonna be gray, and we're gonna throw that on there. Now the reason why I'm not going to M2C yet is because I don't know how I bent this chassis. I don't jump it extremely high like some of those other guys do. So I don't see me bending this a whole lot unless I take it to a skate park, then I can see why. But I think it's from hitting that brick wall when I broke the shock cap, because I can't find any other place on this car that shows any other damage of where that happened. But let's get into where the damage is and why we're doing this. All right, so let's get this body off. I've already kind of dislodged the chassis brace and the center diff. The center diff looks okay. The teeth have a little bit discoloration, but that's probably just because of all the issues I was having with the pinion, but this has been holding it pretty nice. The issue I'm having is right here, and I think I've shown you guys this before, right there. So this is actually bent down, and I've seen this happen a lot. I've seen pictures of other people having this issue, and that's right below the motor. So if this motor is tweaked down a little bit because the chassis is bent, it's going to slightly change the pitch or the angle of that pinion to the spur gear. I'm chewing up spur gears, pinions left and right. And that's why you guys haven't seen this ran a whole lot on this channel since we got it. We've only ran it kind of a few times, but I'm constantly having issues. I just broke a pinion the other day. It was steel and it took 3 of the teeth off. And this is hardened steel. This is from Hot Racing. This is a beefy spur gear. If you guys are going to get one, I would get one from Hot Racing. These will last you a long time. So that's why I'm doing this. Hopefully that fixes the problem and we'll get that straight. If you guys know why it's doing this, or you've seen this happen on other cars, let us know why. But like I said, we're not extreme bashing this. So I don't know how it bent so easily right there. But we're going to go and throw this stuff on. Hopefully this won't be too long of a video. We're going to go ahead and take the wheelie bar off and take the wing off. And then what we're going to do is we're going to flip it over and take these side skirts off and kind of go from there. I'm just going to try and get through this as painless as possible. I'm pretty sure that, you know, you guys already know how to do this. It just takes a little bit of time. So we're gonna put this right over here. I'm gonna keep everything together so nothing gets lost. Finish taking off the wheelie bar. All right, there we go. Actually, now we get those screws out. This should come off. Yeah, there we go. A lot of those screws in the back are gonna be your 2.5 mil. Same with the shocks. Majority of the screws are gonna be 2.5. So let's go ahead. What I'm going to do also is, I'm going to lay a towel down right here, because I don't want a whole lot of stuff moving around, and that'll kind of help keep all the guts from moving around when it falls. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's start taking these screws off. All right, so now we're going to grab our 2.0 and let's go ahead and take these side skirts off. There you go, it'll just pop off. Be a good opportunity to make sure all this is nice and clean before you put it back on. But I'm gonna put this right over here. All right, now let's take these front rear skid plates off. And just so you guys know, I am not replacing these front braces right here that hold the pins. I'm gonna replace those later, and I'm also gonna replace those. I might do them in green. What do you guys think? You guys think on the dark gray with everything else green, you think that would look cool green? The thing is though, you're hardly gonna see it anyways. So I mean, you might see it, but maybe I will do it green. Maybe that'll look kind of cool. All right guys, I'm just gonna blow this off real quick so I can get all the debris off. Let's go and take these screws out. I'm just gonna go around and break them loose, because some of these I put Loctite, depending on what they're going in. If they're going into metal or aluminum, I put a little bit of Loctite on them. If they're going into plastic, you don't need any. That's actually gonna do more damage than good. Okay, I believe that one's actually a 2.0. Yeah, that's a 2.0. All right. Okay, I didn't think about this, but this is the chassis that they sent me this damage. What I'm probably gonna do with this one is I'm probably gonna go ahead and have this repainted. That way I have a spare. But I'm actually gonna use this to kind of help me out. So what I'm actually gonna do here is I'm gonna take these screws. I'm just gonna lay them in here just so I can put this together real quick. Just like that. And that way I know where all my screws go. And you know what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna save this chassis just for that purpose. I'm actually gonna use this chassis as my guide for the next time I have to do this. You know what this actually is? I believe this screw right here holds in a little block that actually adjusts the mesh. That's what that is. So I'm gonna leave that on just for now so I can see what this looks like. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna carefully pop this up just like that. And that's exactly what that is. So if you guys don't know what this is, you see I'll zoom in for you, but it says 1352 on it. So that's your gear mesh. So if you're gonna change your gears, you just change this block right here and it changes the side. So, but you know what? Now that we have this off, let's go ahead and look down on this. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'll angle it. You can see where it's bent, right where the motor was. Right there. Everything else actually looks good. It's that one spot. And unfortunately, it's right where the motor is. We'll have to get this bottom cleaned up, get a lot of this stuff off, and then we'll put the new chassis on. I'm just gonna use my pick, go around, get all the rocks that are stuck, like right there, take my compressor real quick and get the rest off. Let's just go ahead and open up. Go and open up our new chassis. Ooh, that looks really nice. That's gonna look really nice. I like that a lot more than I do the blue. But let's go ahead and take these real quick. I mean, you can kind of see it right there. Kind of bumps up right there. Not so much on this side. This is actually, yeah, this is definitely bent. I mean, you can look at the back. So, all right, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna put this right here. Let's go ahead and switch this little piece over. Whoop. Didn't lose that guy. Okay. So we're gonna put it in the same spot. Take that right off. Comes off just like that. Make sure it's nice and clean. And we're gonna put that right back on there, just like that. No need for Loctite on this. It's not going anywhere. The motor covers it, so it's not gonna go anywhere anyways. Just make sure it's in there nice and snug. We got that on there, just like that. So now it's nothing really moved, which is great. This might make it a little bit easier. So let's go ahead and flip it over. I'm gonna take my brush here real quick. Make sure everything's nice and clean. Go ahead and put the chassis back on. The only problem I feared doing it this way was how it was gonna go on. So some of them went on just fine. So let's go ahead and put some of these screws back in. All right, so I'm just gonna start going around putting these screws in. I might speed this up just a little bit for you guys. I have not cranked any of them down yet because I just want to get them started so I can make sure that everything's in place. That way I can kind of flip it over now. Carefully. And it looks like everything is a-okay. You know, the wires are pretty secure for the battery tray because they go through the battery tray assembly. So they're not going to stick out or get pinched. So that's also why you kind of want to take your time. So now we're gonna route these back over and we're gonna go ahead and tighten all these down now. Remember the one with the steps right here, see how it's nice and smooth? And you got one of the steps here, that's gonna be facing up. You can tell it faces up because if you guys can see that, it actually curves to the chassis. So that's how you know it's on right. right, so once I got this done, we're gonna go ahead and continue on with the shock towers. Since we have already everything off, it's actually not that bad. So let's go ahead and start with the back. Dog bones might pull out, and that's okay. Just make sure you don't lose that rubber O-ring that's in there. Right now that those are out, we're gonna take this one, this, and this one out, and these three. Forward and slide it out just like that. Get in there. Now I'm going to get the new shock tower, and we're going to see the bent. See how these look. Top looks good, sides look good. They actually look good. I'm going to slide that in there just like that. You're going to have to push down a little bit and pop it in. So let's go ahead and put the front screws back in. Got that on, then now let's move to the front and get the front shock tower. Alright, so I just finished servicing the front diff, so I'm going to quickly throw in those screws and we can go ahead and get to putting the shock tower on. And now let's open up our new shock tower. Let's see if it's bent. Alright, so here's the new one and here's the old one. And no, it's not bent. Even after hitting a cement wall, these actually hold up very well. I'm really surprised, but I'm really happy. They really built this truck tough. Just to make it easier so I don't have to force it in, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna loosen up the housing so it goes in a little bit smoother. I know I've seen people just kind of like just push them in, force them in, but I mean, you're really scraping up some of this stuff. So if you loosen up the housing, pop it in just like that, and then get everything tight. Now that we've got those on, let's go ahead and see how these guards go in. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get our, like I said, almost everything on this truck is a 2.0 or 2.5. So we got all those on. Now what we're gonna do is put these screws in for our shocks. And these ones were on the inside. We'll make sure we keep them on the inside. I think those control arm covers, man, they look nice. We're gonna go ahead and work on the motor a little bit. So what we're gonna do here, we've got the flat spot right there. So first we're gonna make sure these are in properly, which they are. Make sure this one's in, make sure nothing got popped out. All right, we got our center diff here. Bearings still are really good. You got to make sure those that they don't come out of the boot. You know, that dust boot, it's just a dust boot, there's nothing in there. Traxxas tried to say that they were grease, but there's honestly no grease in there. So I think they just keep the dust out to prolong the life of your dog bone. But if that's true, then why don't the front and rear axles come with boots? So anyways, that's on. Make sure everything turns. Get a brand new pinion. All right, so I know that popped out of the bag, but I did not see this thing come with a set screw. So it says it comes with one, but it doesn't appear to. It's all right, I got an old one. Just gonna put some Loctite on it. Gonna get that started. Now a little trick that I learned. Someone taught me this because it's a good trick that people learn with the gt-maxx, is get some of your Loctite and put some Loctite on the shaft of the motor. Go ahead and put your pinion on. I'm gonna pull this out real quick just because I want to make sure that that's on all the way. That back in. Just like that. That's why I keep a pick with me. Just helps to fish some stuff out. I'm gonna drop that in. I'm gonna put the housing on there. All right, let's throw on the new chassis brace real quick. I am gonna use the new screws. That looks nice. I always work, for some reason, I always work on the motor side. So I'm actually gonna put this in like this. Look at that. There we go. All right, guys, that is looking clean. That is looking really good. I hope you guys like how this is looking so far. All right, so now we got that on. We're gonna go ahead and put this aside and we're gonna work on the shocks. So I got this nice stand right here. You can also use it to hold your shocks. So I'm gonna put that right here so you guys can see it. And what I'm gonna do is first, let me go and open up these packages. And I'm gonna do one shock with you guys, and then I'm gonna do the rest off camera because it's pretty much just repeating the same thing 4 times. Wow. Look how nice that looks. That's gonna look nice. Ooh, look at that. You guys see that? All right, so for the sledge, the stock weight for the front is 60 weight and the stock weight for the rear is 50 weight. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna put 70 weight in the front and we're gonna go 60 weight in the rear. So we're just gonna go up by 10, see how that handles and see if that'll work for us. We just need it to be a little bit stiffer. If it's a little bit too stiff, we can always adjust the preload with the adjusters. So I'm not really too worried about it. So let's go and jump into it. As you guys can see, it's starting to get kind of sunny. So I'm gonna try and jump through this a little bit quicker than normal. All right, so we're gonna grab our 2.0, put this right here. I'll put it right here so you guys can see it. Maybe right there. All right, so we're gonna grab our 2.0. And we're just gonna zip all these off because it's okay if we mix these up. All right, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna adjust the preload towards the top. We're gonna take the bottom off. Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna clean these up a little bit before we take them apart. So now, let's go ahead and get these apart. These are a little tight. There we go. Take the cap off, put that right there, and we're gonna go ahead and dump this out. For now, we're just gonna put that like that, and let that drain out. I'm gonna clean the top of this off. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and take this collar off. The method I did last time was, once you bleed the fluid, you wanna go up about halfway or a quarter, put the diaphragm on, and pull it down while the diaphragm's on to kind of suck the diaphragm down so you can put the cap on. Doing that, that's fine, but just note, you're adding a preload. You know, you're adding a little bit of preload there, and it just depends on how you're gonna ride your car. You can leave this all the way down, put the diaphragm on, and just screw the cap on. As long as there's no air in it, that's gonna work just fine. So there's multiple ways to build a shock. As long as you got all the air out and you don't tear your seals, you're fine. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna loosen the bottom right there. Gonna unscrew that carefully, just like that. Pull that apart. All right, we're gonna put this one aside. I'm gonna actually put it over here because we're gonna have to let these drain a little bit so I can clean them up. Make sure there's nothing damaged, make sure the piston's okay. Everything looks good, the seal's not torn, that's it. So now what we're gonna do is, since we're working on the front, we're gonna grab a front shock, make sure it's clean. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and screw this in. What I like to do is squeeze a little on your finger, just like that, just a little bit. Put a little bit on that seal, you know, just in case. Screw it in carefully. Make sure that seal all the way around is going in. Looks just fine. Perfect. Now I'm gonna get my crescent wrench here. And that's it. You'll feel it. You'll feel it slip as you're tightening it, and once you feel that last slip, you're good. We're gonna put this collar back on. Remember, I have that facing down because that's where the spring rides on, just like that. So I'm gonna put it down right about here just because we're bleeding it right now. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add my fluid. So let's get our 70 weight. I'm gonna fill it about 3/4 of the way. And I'm gonna go up with it, slowly, and then down. I'm gonna go up and down slow. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll twist the shock. Like I'll just twist it like that as I'm going up and down. You're just trying to work the air out. All right, then I'm gonna pull the shock down, and I'm gonna put it right in there, and I'm gonna let it sit. So while that's sitting, I'm gonna go ahead and start this one. All right, so looks like we got most of the air out. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull the shock all the way down. And because this is the front, it's 70 weight. So we're just gonna top it off. All right, that's pretty good. Now we're gonna get our cap. Screw it down. As you're screwing it down, make sure you see air. Sorry for the biker. Make sure when you're tying it down, you see air come out. You want air to come out. It's supposed to do that. That's why that hole is there. It makes sure that all that excess air escapes. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab it and you're gonna snug it. You're not gonna crank it, you're gonna snug it. Here we go. So that's one of the shocks. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rip through these real quick and I'll be right back so we can install them. All right guys, so that's it. All the shocks are been rebuilt. All look really good. The green really looks good. So right now I have them adjusted equally from front to rear. Obviously, I will go ahead and adjust that once I take it out to drive it, see how the weight feels. Let's go and get the sledge over here and throw the shocks on. I've been charging this driver the entire time making this video. I don't think I've ever had this driver die this many times. I know this might be a long repair, but it's worth it in the end, and especially if you guys need any help on how to do this kind of stuff. I mean, all you gotta do is let me know. All right, so to get the bottom one, it can be kind of a pain. You kind of have to angle it and pop it in. What I'm gonna do, just to check it, I'm actually gonna put them on the inside, which when you put them on the inside, that's more for off-road use. Sometimes if you angle these while you put them in, they pop right in just like that. It does take a little bit of practice. All right, we'll get that one in. So let's get these tightened up. Should be facing outwards like that. Go to the rear. I know it's gonna be a little bit harder for you guys to see the rear, so I'll kind of just throw this in real quick. Let's go and flip it back over for the last time. Get that tire out of here. All right, let's go ahead and put on our skid plate. All right, so we're gonna remove those screws from the chassis, and it came with new ones. On there. Now it's going to have 2 screws with Loctite. So when you grab those are going to go in the back. All right, so now you get those started. What you're going to do is you're going to grab, there's going to be 2 short ones, and I believe those are 4x15, and those are going to go right here. The rest of them are going to be 4x18, and those are going to go in the wrist. Alright guys, well, we're all done. This is everything that we replaced. Replaced the chassis, replaced the front and rear shock tubes, replaced the chassis brace, the wing mount. That was just cosmetic. It looks cool. The front rear shock towers and the suspension arm covers. I may have to adjust the front suspension a little bit because the wheels are tilting out just a little bit, but it looks good. Everything in it looks much better. I really like the green. Now it actually looks green. The front rear shock tower, you can't see the blue anymore. That looks really nice. And as for the bottom, that looks really cool. Hopefully this will help absorb some of the hits, and we'll have to wait and see how that handles, but everything looks good so far. I'm not going to drive it right away because I'm going to let that Loctite set. I put a little bit on that motor like you saw. Hopefully that sets too, and that will definitely hold on because it is not easy to get that pinion off with that Loctite on there. You kind of have to pry it off and heat it up, but it will hold it on, so you don't have to worry about that thing falling off. So hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry if it was a little bit long, but I think this was a great video. This is actually our first video for hop-ups. We haven't done any video like this before on any of our cars. The Russell had a lot of upgrades, but I don't consider those hop-ups. I consider that damage control, you know, preventing more damage. So we haven't had anything where it was just cosmetic. The only thing repaired on this, I would call repair, would probably be that chassis because it was bent. Everything else was like I just wanted to get rid of the blue. I wanted to get the green on there, make it match the body, which I think Traxxas should be doing anyways. I don't know why you get a green body and everything is blue, but if you buy a $1,000 gt-maxx, everything color matches. So they should just do it across the board. But yeah, I'll adjust this a little bit more. Make sure you get the suspension right, and then we'll go take it for a rip. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Sorry if it was a little bit long, but it was really fun. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to get my sledge back out there again. It will be in the next RC Clash, Actually, it might be in there for the next 3. We'll just have to wait and see what happens, but it's definitely going to be in the next one. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one.